Yo, what's going on? Y'all let me know. I need to make sure this mic is working. It's been a while since I've been on, so I don't know if my audio levels are right. All right, it look like it's working. Hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's been a minute. I know I just randomly, abruptly disappeared, but your boy was on vacation, which was much needed, and I like to think well deserved. So now I'm back in the mix and we got some stories that we have to talk about. As always, shout out to everybody who's tuning in. Hey, shout out to the first comment today who gets a real life round of applause. Maddie, thank you for your support. Today we're going to cover a few stories, but the main story is going to be reacting to a viral uh, police use of force incident that was the result of police stop. We're going to break it down. I was kind of trying to think of the best way to do it. I thought about looking at the news story first, but I said, you know what? We're going to just go ahead, jump into the body cam footage. As always, hey, I'm Marcus. I'm a licensed attorney. I've been doing this for 15 years and some change. So I've been in the game for a minute. Defense, prosecution, investigations, mostly criminal, some civil, a lot of stuff, bank fraud, drugs, you name it. I probably had some interaction with those type of cases. So we're going to talk about these cases today. As always, I appreciate y'all for y'all support. And if you get some value out of this content, or you see something you like, or if you think it sucks, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, like, share, subscribe, or not. Either way, I appreciate your support and interaction. So let's go ahead and jump into this first video. The first video today, I want to talk about hip hop real quick. There's been a lot going on in the hip hop community with people having to be accountable for their illegal actions, getting sentenced in court. And there's an interesting trend of the mothers of rappers getting sentenced. So I want to take a look at a few stories real quick before we jump into the title story. So let's go ahead, jump into our first story about, I guess they were a rapper, pop. I don't know what you want to call it, but let's dive into our first story and let's see what's going on.
New at 3, covering a criminal case we've been closely monitoring, rapper Cash Out has been sentenced to life in prison after his sex trafficking RICO case conviction. Today, a Fulton County judge handed down that sentence. On Friday, a jury found Cash Out, whose real name is John Michael Gibson, guilty on multiple charges. Gibson received 2 life sentences for rape and aggravated sodomy and 75 years for the other charges. Cash Out's mother was sentenced to 30 years for trafficking and RICO violations. His co-defendant, Tyrone Taylor, was given a total of 94 years on other charges.
All right, so real quick, we just heard of everybody who was involved. They all pretty much gone forever. 2 life sentences, 70 years, 90 something years for the third defendant. Mama got 30 years, all for sex trafficking, prostitution ring, a RICO charge. We covered RICO multiple times. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the rapper Cash Out, but he had like a really hot song that was like in the early 2000s. It was him and Wale. Shout out to Wale from the DMV. It was I think it was called Hold Up, and I'm like, wait, hold up. You never heard? I don't know if y'all ever heard that song, but Cash Out had a really popular song that I really liked with him and Wale. And this pivot to a life of crime and prostitution is actually insane. The even crazier thing for me is him and his mother were involved in running this criminal organization. I actually was going to play some footage from the sentencing of the mother, but I just decided not to since I'm covering a few stories before we jump in the main topic. But it was what you usually see at a sentencing. Somebody standing there crying, snot bubbles, sounding real remorseful, begging for leniency. Mama Cash's attorney asked for her to receive a split sentence where she would do 30 years, but she would do a 5-year sentence that was active time. And I think the remainder would have been on probation. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I feel like I guess it happens more common than not. Most times what I see, this is most times what I see. For me, mostly, not all the time, but mostly, I think it's very rare to see a mother and child both commit crimes. It's normally one way or another. Like people who are criminals oftentimes really don't want their children to be criminals, or in the inverse, children who are criminals damn sure don't want their mothers to participate in criminal activity with them. So this is actually an interesting story. I think that, hey, for the charges that were named, I think everybody got what they deserve. That's how the justice system plays out. Now let's pivot, because we aren't done with rappers and their mothers who are doing bad things and get sentenced. Let's turn to another person who at one point in time was prominent in hip hop, and they were charged with the crime. Their mother were charged with the crime, and now let's see where they are and what's going on.
Right now, it was sentencing day for the mother of Sean Kingston, who was tied to some fraud cases here by her famous son. Local 10's Nell Sabovic is joining us live from the courthouse in Fort Lauderdale.
And we actually covered this case when it first started. Long story short, Sean Kingston and his mother were leveraging bogus deals that they purportedly were going to do. Like, okay, we're going to perform this concert and we're going to get X amount of dollars in their concert. So they would use a story like that to be able to leverage to get goods, services, items, and nobody was listening to fucking Sean Kingston. He wasn't performing shit. It was fraud. That's what the general basis of it was.
With what was handed down. Snella.
Well, Christy, a federal judge sentenced Kingston's mother, Janice Turner, to 60 months in federal prison. And before that sentence was handed down, she did address the court with tears in her eyes, saying that she was sorry and she asked the judge for mercy for her and her son.
Somebody call 911.
It's sentencing day for singer Sean Kingston's mother, Janice Turner. Federal Judge David Leibowitz ordered that she spends the next 5 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of probation.
Anything about the charges?
4 months ago, a jury found Turner and her son, whose real name is Kishan Anderson, guilty of 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud for their scheme to defraud luxury merchandise vendors over $1 million. Her attorney, Humberto Dominguez, fought for a lesser sentence.
So we have mixed feelings on it. We won on some points, and we obviously lost on some other points.
Just so y'all know, federal fraud charges could be up to 20 years. So 60 months, considering what she was charged with. Seeing how I would be interested to know how old his mother. 60 months is a long time in prison for anybody, but especially someone who up age. But this again is another mother who committed crimes with her son and now is being held accountable by the justice system,
which will be obviously handled on appeal. Overall, the judge tried to do what was right, what was fair.
Turner appeared for her sentencing hearing shackled in a red jumpsuit. She addressed the judge, saying through tears that she was sorry and that she was trying to keep her son afloat. She begged the judge have mercy on them. While Kingston didn't appear in court today, he did write a letter to the judge. Dominguez tells us what's in it.
She's been a great mom, that she's a loving, caring person, just like I said, to, asking the judge to factor in his...
That's actually crazy. He didn't appear in court. Your mother's going to prison for doing goofy shit with you, and you didn't appear in court because of her sentencing is wild. I mean, he wrote a letter, but that's actually kind of crazy.
Her age and her medical conditions.
Prosecutors presented additional evidence into record where it was uncovered during a special agent's testimony. There were 17 additional victims. That agent said she spoke to those victims and they received fake wire receipts for various luxury goods like jewelry and cars. Some got paid, others didn't. Turner was also ordered to pay victims back. Prosecutors called her a thief and detailed prior convictions, while Dominguez says she got in trouble simply for helping her son.
She's a really caring person. She's helped a lot of people in her life.
All right, that's enough of that. I'm tired of seeing these mothers go to prison. But hey, hip hop mothers are committing crimes with their sons, and everybody is getting time in prison, which appears to be the trend. Again, I think, especially this case, the Cash Out's case, Mama Cash Out, RICO, trafficking charges, much more serious charges. You talk about life, 90, 70, 30 years being handed out. That's cool. But maybe this is just me. But if I'm Sean Kingston and I'm committing fraud with my mother and I both committing fraud, I don't know if he did this, but I would rather eat it. I would rather eat that time than have my mother go, like, yo, just give me a plea. If you give me a plea agreement to whatever, I'll figure it out. Don't put my mother, who's sick and elderly in prison, because chances are she's not gonna get whatever she need. She's not gonna be accustomed to whatever lifestyle she used to. That shit is gonna be hard, and for somebody, prison can kill anybody, but somebody who's older like her, I think it's double hard. That the difficulty of dealing with a federal prison sentence is extremely multiplied when you are a vulnerable adult because you're older and you have an illness. But hey, rappers are committing crimes with their moms and they're getting sentenced. And as I was diving down the rappers committing crime, this one, thank God her mother wasn't involved. Shout out to her for not having her mother involved in any criminal acts. I actually didn't watch this story. I just kind of saw the headline because somebody sent it to me. So this is literally my first time watching this. I don't know what the facts of it are. But let's go ahead and take a look. Glorilla recently received drug charges. Because they're saying drug charges and not drug trafficking charges, I'm thinking it's not that bad from the title. But let's take a look to see what's going on with Big GLO.
REG in Memphis.
No, what happened?
This is News Channel 3 at 5.
First at 5 on your news leader, Memphis rapper Glorilla is arrested in Georgia just days before she's set to perform at her Glow Bash at FedEx Forum. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hirsch. She was arrested on drug charges. However, Glorilla's attorney says there's more to the story. WRG's Raven Copeland joins us now live from FedEx Forum. And Raven, fans are wondering if this will impact tomorrow's concert there.
Yeah, Greg and Stephanie, organizers tell WREG that the show will go on. Today, the FedEx Forum tweeted a ticket link for the Glorilla. Her attorney and the community are reacting to her arrest in Georgia. Days before Glorilla is set to headline her inaugural Glow Bash at the FedEx Forum, she was arrested on drug charges in Forsyth County, Georgia. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office says this all started in the overnight hours of Saturday, July 20th, when deputies responded to a burglary call at the rapper's home. The police report shows someone in the home fired shots at a group of people who broke in and stole items. The suspects were gone when deputies arrived, and during their investigation, deputies say they smelled illegal drugs.
All right, that's always going to be the case. This is actually crazy because someone, it looks like from her team, called the authorities because of an attempted burglary attempt. Once cops come on the scene, if they come to your vehicle, if they're doing an investigatory stop, if they're coming reporting to the scene, if it smells like marijuana in the car, if it smells like marijuana in the house, they're 100% of the time, 99.9% of the time, maybe there's a small chance they won't. But if they smell marijuana, or sometimes they just lie and say a strong odor of marijuana was present. But if they do, in fact, smell marijuana, y'all was in the house blazing, it's 100% certainty that they're going to utilize that as a basis to be able to conduct a warrantless search on the premise for actual drugs. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. I mean, you got insurance, shots was fired, I understand, but that's what's going to happen. Very rarely is a cop going to come to your house and if they smell marijuana, not use that as a basis to go in like, okay, I smell something illegal. There's a possibility a crime is being committed here. Let's go in and search for the illegal contraband. So that's what the officers did.
Then executed a search warrant and found marijuana inside the master bedroom closet. They charged Glorilla, the homeowner, with felony marijuana possession and possession of Schedule 1.
If it was anybody else, if it was another Jane Doe, it's just because it's Glorilla, they make a big deal out of it. If it was Lakeisha down the street, it would have been nothing.
Glorilla's attorney, Marissa Goldberg, tells WREG that the rapper was out of town and her family was home at the time of the burglary. Your news leader went on Bill Street to hear what people have to say about her arrest.
All right, is that a valid defense? Absolutely, yes. Typically, there's two types of ways you can establish possession of an illegal narcotic or firearm or anything. It's either actual possession, as in you actually have it, or constructive possession, Normally, you see a constructive possession argument where you had those situations where I'm driving a car and I'm in the car with 5 people. The cops find a joint or a gun underneath the seat, and everybody's like, yo, that's not my gun. Normally, they'll use a constructive possession argument saying that since I'm the person who was in control of the instrumentality where the contraband was found, it's my vehicle. So I constructively was the owner of the firearm. Here is a little bit different because if she's actually not able to be on the premise, if she's out of town doing something else, if there's other people with access in and out, 100% great argument. So so far it sounds like that can be, or this will possibly end up favorable for her.
I think that's the absolutely most craziest thing I've ever heard because she wasn't there first and foremost. Second of all, we don't necessarily know what happened in that situation. The robbers could have left it there. Anything could have happened.
She wasn't even there. So how do you know somebody that planted drugs? How do you know somebody in her family that had it? How do you know it could be anything?
He said exactly what happened. Somebody who was at the house, who had access to the house, how this is going to play out. Somebody who had access to the house, somebody who was in the house. Y'all need to just stand up and eat that charge, whatever it is. It's definitely not going to land on her if she can prove that she wasn't there. So that's an easy one. Let me check out this comment real quick. Shout out to IB. Never ever trust anyone that would refer to themselves as an expert. They are manipulators. I don't know. You could be like a legit expert in something. I don't necessarily think that someone calling themselves an expert is necessarily in and of itself manipulation. Could it be? Yeah, because anybody who has knowledge level of a subject that another person doesn't is going to probably be in a prime position to manipulate somebody. So, that's why when you're dealing with an expert, do your research first to get a baseline understanding of what's really going on. Because the less information you know, the more likely you are susceptible to manipulation. But it looks like that's going to end up working out in Glorilla's favor. I don't see how she's going to eat that charge if she, in fact, wasn't there. Someone else is going to stand on that charge, as they should, because I'm sure she's the one who's paying for the house and all other shit with all the music she making. Now, let's talk about our baseline story. Now, again, I was actually going to show the news story first because all videos aren't created equal. The very first video that we saw of this was the video footage from that of the plaintiff in this lawsuit. Looked like he recorded it from his cell phone, an interaction that he had with law enforcement officers. But we always talk about this. We need to know what happened before, during, and after an event to get the full context. So I thought the best way to review this video was let's just go ahead and look at the body cam footage. We're going to break it down. And as I play it, I'm going to try not to stop it too much, but I'm going to talk about and discuss legal concepts that come up as we get through this video. So let's go ahead, jump in. This video not too long, actually. Let's see. It's about 7 minutes. So this video not too long. And real quick before we jump in, I want to give a shout out to the Police Activity YouTube channel is where I found this video at. So if y'all want to see this and other videos like this of police interactions, y'all feel free to jump over there and check it out. So let's tune in. It's going to be some punching in the face, punching in the thigh bone, look like a punch to the gonads going on here. But let's check it out and break it down.
Yeah, Florida 24 Bravo Echo Charlie Whiskey on a silver Kia. I don't know how this.
And I haven't watched this video, so this is the first time I'm watching this all the way through. I have seen a news story on it, but this is the first time I'm watching this body cam footage.
Yes, sir. Is there a reason why you're popping the door?
All right, real quick. Absolutely terrible fucking thing to do. Do not at all. When you're pulled over by an officer and they walk up on you, hey, generally it wouldn't apply to anybody, but especially if you're a black person, do not pop the door open like that. Keep your hands on the steering wheel where they can see. It looks like he got a light tint on his window, but you can clearly see through it. Keep your hands on the wheel. Do not open the door like that because cops are going to be on edge. When that door opens up, they can't see where your hands are, so they don't know what the hell is going to happen. So definitely don't do that shit.
Like that? I don't have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over? Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on.
Okay. The officer said it's inclement weather and you don't have your lights on. In most states, I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's consistent. In most states, if there's rain, if there's fog, if it's any type of smog or anything, there's a requirement that you have your headlights on. That's why most newer cars have daytime running lights, so you don't got to deal with that. Is it inclement weather? Like, it doesn't look foggy outside. I can see clearly. It doesn't look like it's actually raining. I can see a few drops over on this window in the rear seat. It looks like a few drops at the door, but I don't think it's inclement weather. It doesn't look like inclement weather, but that's the reason for the stop. They're saying you didn't have your lights on during inclement weather.
Two things: you're not wearing your seatbelt.
You're not wearing your seatbelt. Now, I'm actually going to pause it right quick and just rewind it shortly. Both are valid reasons for an officer to pull you over because both are violations of the law. He didn't have his seatbelt on is what the officer's saying. What could have happened, I don't know. But the fact that he opened the door is not uncommon, and I've seen people do this a lot. When they're pulled over by a police officer, once they park the vehicle, they take their seatbelt off. So it's possible, I don't know, and I'm not going to rewind back in the footage, but it is possible that he could have had his seatbelt on and took it off when he went to open the door and turn his foot out of the vehicle. But in any event, the officer said he didn't have his seatbelt on. So those are the two reasons. Those are both justifiable reasons for an officer to pull you over, even though I think the headlight one is bullshit because it doesn't look like inclement weather to me from this video footage. I don't even see any watermarks on the body cam footage. I really don't even see any on the door. I thought I saw some at a different angle, but it looks dry as fuck outside. It looked like it might have been raining, but yeah, he's going with seatbelt because the other one sounds shady, so he's going with seatbelt here as a justification for the stop.
Inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things: you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights, and it's not weather. It's not raining.
Oh, this is inclement.
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor.
All right. Real quick, two mistakes. Turn and open the door during the stop. Completely unnecessary. Don't do that because it could get you shot. The second issue is, again, there's actually no need to get this short. Now, I don't know if he took his seatbelt off, but I suspect, based from this, I'm just going off what we said. This is my first time watching this. I suspect he, in fact, didn't have his seatbelt on. Because listen to what he said. We got to listen to what he said here. When the officer said you don't have your daytime running lights on in this inclement weather, he completely challenged that. Was like, it's not bad weather. Chances are, if he in fact had his seatbelt on, he would have exhibited the same behavior. He probably would have said, you know what? I had my seatbelt on. What are you talking about? I took it off when you pulled me over. He didn't say that, but because he didn't challenge it, I'm assuming he didn't have his seatbelt on.
And it's not weather. It's not raining.
Oh, this is inclement.
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor. Why did you pull me over?
37,
See, now he's doing the wrong thing. You don't fight legal battles in the street. You fight legal battles in the court. This conduct right here is what gets you thrown on hot-ass pavement in the summertime. He's asking why he pulled me over. The cop already explained why he pulled over. Even though I agree that the headlight thing was BS, it sounds ridiculous. The seatbelt thing is legit. This individual didn't challenge and didn't deny that he didn't have his seatbelt on. So it's actually a real reason for the stop. Right here, the only thing that should have happened is, okay, here's my license. Here's my registration. Get the matter resolved. But he's making a challenge out of something, and I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just breaking down this video as we're going through. Don't challenge things on the street. Things are supposed to be challenged in court. He told you why he was making the stop. Just give him the documents, bro. At this point,
I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out of the vehicle.
Okay, now here is where the conduct has crossed the line to a more serious criminal charge that could be brought up. The minor traffic violation, not a big deal, but we all agree that you could be stopped for not wearing your seatbelt. I think everybody would agree that you could be stopped for not having your seatbelt on. Once he tells you the reason for the stop, this guy didn't say I didn't have my seatbelt on, but this is nothing to form to challenge it. You just give over your documents. The officer had a valid reason for the stop on the seatbelt. Lights sound like BS, but at least the seatbelt was a valid reason for the stop. Here, when he tells the guy to get out of the car, give me your license and registration, this is crossing the line into obstruction of justice. Now, some people call it obstruction, resisting. Different states call it different things. Long story short, how it's generally defined in most jurisdictions is an individual is doing something to impede an officer's lawful investigation. So I've actually had trials for obstruction where clients have gotten not guilty because officers really don't know. They'll charge obstruction of justice, but in order to have an obstruction of justice, there has to be an underlying justification for the officer being there. The officer just can't be walking down the block and ask somebody for their information, and the person says no, and he's like, "I'm obstructing. You're obstructing justice. Let's go to jail." No. Obstruction of justice is a person is impeding an officer from engaging in a lawful investigation. So here, the lawful investigation was the result of the seatbelt violation and the BS reason that he said for the headlights. But at a minimum, at least the seatbelt violation. So closing the door, locking the door, clearly falls under obstruction of justice, which is most states is a mid to upper level misdemeanor, which is an offense that a person could be arrested for.
25 seconds. For not the 9-4, the driver just slammed the door and locked it.
It's good that he could see through the window so he could see the guy's hands. If the windows were tinted at like 10% and you couldn't see the guy's hands, it would change probably the analysis of this entire video. But there's a tint, but that looks like a legal tint, 20%, not too dark. You can still see what's going on.
Yep. 25 seconds. If anybody responding, come in from Commonwealth, block the vehicle, please. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir.
All normal. He called for backup. He's telling the guy to keep his hands where he can see him. So far, so good. This officer who's the initial, who made the initial stop, which the stop appears to be justified just off the seatbelt alone. That's what we're going to limit it to. So far, so good. Nothing crazy.
Yep, my camera's on too. I've already told you. Okay. Okay. Right now, you're under arrest for resisting. You understand?
All seems legit so far.
Under arrest for resisting. The longer you take us on, the worse it's going to be.
This officer's actually just, hey, I'm not grandstanding for the boys in blue, but this officer actually sounds really calm. So I'm assuming he's probably not the puncher in this situation, but he sounds actually really calm. And so far, he seems like he's kind of keeping things even keel and not escalating the situation.
Keep your hands with him, sir. Okay.
Okay. I don't know who this was who pulled in front, but him pulling in front that tight, one, that's a tactical move, which is smart. So the guy can't take off in the vehicle. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm assuming that the next person on the scene is probably the person who's going to up the escalation on this situation. Because the officer who made the stop, he seems pretty calm.
Sir, this is your last warning to open the vehicle and exit before we're going to break the window. Open.
Now, I will tell you, in Florida, in a lot of places, once a person has committed a crime that subjugates them to actually being arrested, you can, like, the cops are within their rights to actually arrest you. It's not uncommon for, I've seen it all the time. Police officers break a window to open a door to take an individual out. The only other alternative would be for the cops to just stand there and indefinitely and wait for the person to open the door when they have enough information to actually make an arrest. Right now, as I watch this video, again, the reason for the stop, seatbelt, not the headlight, sounds kind of shady, but seatbelt, legit. Is this resisting? Yes, this is. He told him why he was making the stop. He asked for license and registration. He told him to step out of the car. So far, so good.
The door and exit, or we are going to break the window. Open the door and exit, or we are going to break the window.
Well, we're conducting a traffic stop right now. You need to.
No, he's under arrest.
Hey, how long is it on the first step?
Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting.
See, again, tactically, they back the vehicle in because they don't want the guy to be able to pull off.
Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting.
Now, that's the officer who made the stop. So right now, we're looking at body camera footage from another officer who responded. So, but the guy who made the stop appears to be calm and trying not to make the situation worse than what it probably needs to go to.
Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting.
Can you unlock the door and step out? I will. Can you step out? You're being done. There's a traffic stop being conducted. You're required to comply. Yes.
He's locked it up. He's putting the window down.
Correct.
Trying to talk to
Huh? Okay. So what did he ask for when he I guess,
when he pulled me over, he walked up, opened my door, my window don't work, right? And then I said, so what I did wrong?
Yeah.
He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like,
okay, so what we realized is, yeah, we do see raindrops on his window. So, headlight thing I think is bullshit, but whatever. Give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt, but the seatbelt will probably be legit. But the other officer appeared on the scene and he's letting this guy explain the story. So right now we're watching in this smaller square, who's the plaintiff in this civil lawsuit is what it's going to be, is actually we're seeing his footage from inside the vehicle from his phone. But now he's explaining what happened to the officer who arrived. That's actually kind of weird because normally what happens is maybe they talked about it on the radio and I heard a brief conversation, but normally the officer who arrives on the scene is kind of briefed on everything by the individual officer who made the stop. But this is actually interesting. He's letting the guy explain. That's interesting because it normally doesn't happen.
there's multiple people headlights.
Okay, that's so.
And then there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law
Yeah,
up?
when you step out of the car, I will.
Hey.
Can you call your supervisor?
Huh?
Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Okay, let's stop it right here. The breaking of the window to get in the vehicle. Let's back it up real quick. Right there. The breaking of the window to get in the vehicle. At this point, with breaking the window to get in the vehicle, based on what we're seeing, is absolutely fine. Now, clearly, we can see an officer who's made a stop who's kind of calm, another officer who came on the scene who's probably more of a dick and kind of escalating the situation. But breaking of a window to take a person who's under arrest out of a car, it happens all the time. All the time. Normally what happens, just from a safety standpoint, the window is broken and the officers, if they can see your hand, they'll reach in, unlock the door, open the door, then grab the individual to bring them out, place them under arrest. That's what happens. That's normally how it should go. But the breaking of the window is not the problem.
Exit the vehicle now.
So again, that guy's a dick. You can tell how he said exit the vehicle, and he didn't even give him a chance to attempt to exit the vehicle this second time. He immediately punched him. This is 100% uncalled for. They all were able to see his hands. He had a tent, but it wasn't an illegal tent. It was allowed. It was clear enough so you can see through. This punch was 150,000% uncalled for. It went too far. Is completely excessive. Had he broken the window, opened the door, took him out of the vehicle, everything would have been fine. This bullshit, and it's going to result in somebody probably getting the bag and getting paid.
Exit the vehicle.
Show me your hands.
Here.
Now that's what should have been done from the beginning. If they did all that shit and the guy not fucking punched him in the face, we wouldn't even be talking about this fucking video.
What is your reason, sir? What is your reason? Step out now. All right.
All right, now right here, I hate when this shit happens right here, because when you got 4 officers here who are all grown-ass men who all look like they're on the little portly side, okay? When officers grab an individual, you got 4 people all pulling this guy in different directions. One officer is going to want to keep the guy up so he can handcuff him. Another officer may want to throw him on the ground. Another officer may want to have him on the ground with his hands behind his back. Another officer is going to try to turn his head so this side of his face is on the ground. When you got 4 grown-ass men trying to manipulate you, and there's no consensus on how we want this dude to actually physically comply, it's always 100% is going to look and appear as if the person who's being arrested is resistant, even though he may not be, but he's being pulled by 4 grown-ass men in multiple directions. The stop looked legit. The resisting obstruction of justice appears to be legit. The breaking of the window to enter the vehicle is even legit. That shit happens all the time. The punch in the face is too far, and what's fucked this entire situation up for the police officers. Now, let's go ahead and watch through, and then I'll talk about what I saw about these officers after we get through this. All right, now come on. Now, again, I assume that this is the same officer. This guy right here is the guy who is the person who punched it. He's the person who yelled, "Get out of the vehicle," in a more aggressive manner. Had he not been there, this shit probably would have went off as every other stop in a similar situation would have occurred. But not only does he punch the guy in the face, while the guy's down on the ground, you see some officers manipulating his hands behind his back. Excuse me. This guy who punches him in the face appears to start punching him multiple times in the thigh hamstring area.
What is your reason? Step out now. All right.
All right, so they got on the ground. He's being pulled multiple different directions. They always gonna say another resisting charge because you're resisting right here. No, 4 grown-ass people trying to pull you into different directions. It's gonna look like you're resisting because you're just being tugged like a fucking rag doll. All right, he's on the ground. There's no threat of a weapon right now. He's on the ground. He should just be cuffed. Pick him up, throw him in the car. Come get somebody to tow his shit. It's a done deal. Let's take a look at the punches that were thrown and look like either his ass cheeks or his thigh or nuts or something. One, we see right there. All that shit is unfucking called for. The punch in the face, uncalled for. The punch in the thigh. I guarantee you the individual who's doing all of the talking, who's doing all the yelling is the same person doing the punch.
Put your hands behind your back. Resist. Hands behind your back.
That was 6 punches. I counted 6 punches that he took while he was on the ground, and 7 total punches, and the one in the face when they opened up the vehicle door.
What do you mean? I was putting my hands behind my back. I was on. Ain't no talking now, man. Ain't no talking. What's going on, man? You're under arrest. That's what's going on. No. Yes, bro. Yes. That's a lawful reason, bro. Take it off now, bro. And I'm just trying to have a regular conversation with y'all, bro. That's how it works. When they ask me to step out of the vehicle, you should have done that. So your partner didn't even act.
Marijuana in his right pocket.
Yes, it is. So why close the door if you see him pull up? Because, man, what you mean? He talking about arresting me and stuff, but I didn't do nothing.
No resisting, idiot.
I didn't do nothing wrong.
I don't know.
Can you back me up to the cop that's me up? He was busting that shit, bro.
If you start rescuing 1067, approximately 30-year-old problem.
All right, so that's the video. What we found out on the back end about this situation is the cop who threw the punch, the guy who's throwing the multiple thigh hamstring punches, he has a history of complaints of similar type of conduct. Of course, the police department looked at it and was like, hey, nothing appears to be wrong, but they are going to have a internal investigation. That means shit isn't probably going to happen. Was this excessive use of force? 100%. Was the window break excessive? Absolutely not. I could actually show y'all hundreds of videos on YouTube where officers have broken the window to get a person out of a car and have done so in an infatuated arrest and didn't punch an individual in the damn face. Shout out to everybody joining the chat. Harley, what's going on? About that wallet, what's going on? How are you? Hope everything is well. But clearly excessive use of force. It wasn't the window break. It was the punch in the face. The 6 punches when the guy was on the ground to the thigh hamstring area. All of that was absolutely terrible. How is this going to play out? Now, 2 things can be true. Was there enough evidence for this individual to be arrested for resisting arrest? If you joined from the beginning, absolutely yes, 100%, because the stop was in fact valid, and we're only going to give the officers credit for the seatbelt violation because the headlights may or may not be an issue. Even if you look at the officers' headlights in the video, hold on, let's back it up real quick. Look at all the officers' headlights in the video. They stopped this guy for pulling over while it was raining, and I don't see one police car that got their headlights on. So like I don't know. I'm not giving them credit for that, but let's say the stop was for the seatbelt was justified, which it appears to be because the individual driving the car didn't challenge that at all. That's a legit reason for the stop. They asked for license and registration. He didn't provide it. He proceeded to impede their investigation. So, yes, I think there was enough for a resisting charge because you just can't do that. And the bottom line is you don't fight the legalities of a stop when the stop is being conducted. You get your ticket, you keep it moving, and you give it to your lawyer to take care of in court. I tell my son all the time. My son has been in the car with me when I've been pulled over, and I'm different. I kind of fuck with the officers because I could do that because I just have experience dealing with them. I know a lot of officers. I just fuck with them because that's what I do. Now, if I'm someplace where I don't have a courtroom presence, I'm going to keep it moving. Here's the ticket. Get my ticket and deal with it on the back end. Here, if I get stopped in my city, I'm not going to be a dick, but I'm going to hit them with a whole bunch of legal shit where they're going to be like, just go about your way, sir. But I told my son, as I would advise everybody else, just comply. It's your job to get home safe and get home in one piece. If any rights have been violated, let the attorneys deal with that on the back end. So this shit shouldn't even have escalated this far. The officer who threw the punch was the main factor in escalating the situation. Even though we gotta be fair here. The individual who was stopped, he did a lot of things wrong on this stop that had he made a different decision, he wouldn't have given the officer who escalated the situation the opportunity to escalate the situation. But there is enough. The stop appears justified. It looks like there may be enough for a resisting charge. Definitely excessive use of force. Probably going to result in this individual getting the bag of some type of settlement. Now, normally, if I'm the attorney and I'm handling this case, I'm going to actually try to get this matter resolved. It's probably going to get resolved pursuant to some type of settlement agreement. And it's probably going to result in my client not having to deal with any of these charges, even though there may have been facts to support it, nah, that's going to be a part of what's going to be negotiated here. Now, I want to look at one more video because apparently this gentleman has hired an attorney. We're going to talk about this. I'm not going to play the entire video, but I just brought this up because I saw the attorney they hired, and I was like, yo, this is my homeboy from law school. Hey, shout out to Attorney Daniels, who's a prominent civil rights attorney fighting for justice for the right thing. He probably going to get a bag for this one, and he's going to get his client a bag because it appears to be excessive force. But let's take a real quick look at this video. His attorneys, someone I personally know who's handling this case, addressing these matters. I think he graduated a year behind me. I think even maybe a year behind me, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let me cue up this video. Let's see. Let's go back. What the hell is going on here? Why I got net zero action?
Drop no suspended license. That entire stop would not just pretextual, was unlawful. Mm-hmm. What we're not going to do this morning is get in the back and forth between the leaders of Jacksonville. What we're going to do, we're going to focus on the facts. Mm-hmm. And everybody saw the video. You can release all the body cameras you want, but the body camera, the cell phone footage was unedited. It's a reality. You could talk about a knife bit in the car, but it was not a weapon because he did not weaponize it. He stayed calm.
And officers did report that there was a knife in the car, but even in that same report, they said that it wasn't available. He didn't try to use it. Again, shout out to my guy, Harry Daniels, great attorney, someone I personally know, went to school with. It's interesting what he's doing right now. He's talking about why the stop was invalid, because that's just a common thing. Anytime there's a traffic stop that results in an arrest, one of the very first things that you want to do as an attorney is try to invalidate the traffic stop. If you can find facts to support that the traffic stop should not have occurred, anything that resulted after that traffic stop is irrelevant, is as if it didn't happen. So that's why you hear him making this discussion. I don't know. I think that's a more difficult argument because I just think that on what we see, the facts here, if there's a seatbelt violation, that is a legitimate reason to stop someone, is a legitimate reason to actually get a ticket. But that's why he's doing that. That's where they're going to go. They're probably going to try to, again, point it to, you got to pull it out, man. Hey, this was something that was racially motivated. He didn't hide the ball on what he was going through.
Stealing from that stop was unlawful. Mm-hmm. What we're not going to do this morning is get in the back and forth. What we're going to do, we're going to focus on the facts. Mm-hmm. And everybody saw the video. It's a reality. You could talk about a knife bit in the car, but it was not a weapon because he did not weaponize it. He stayed calm. The only weapon that day was a Jacksonville Sheriff Office. Yeah, the nation saw it. Everybody saw it. And we are here for redress and get justice for the McNeil family.
Redress and justice for the family, i.e. equals a bag. We are going to get a bag, and hopefully any charges that stem from this actually dismissed. I think there's personally going to be a problem. I don't know if you can invalidate the stop. And the only reason I said that is typically when people are approached by officers and they do something wrong, if they didn't do something wrong, they actually address that. So the fact that the officer said, I stopped you for headlights, and he immediately challenged that. And then he said, I stopped you for the seatbelt. And the guy said nothing, absolutely nothing about the seatbelt. We can't tell from the footage if he had the seatbelt on, but he did open the door. He was able to turn his whole body. We didn't see him take his seatbelt off. So it's given evidence to suggest that he didn't actually have a seatbelt on, but this is going to result in somebody probably getting a check. It's going to result in a settlement. The only question is is the prosecutor's office going to drop the resisting charge and any other charges that may have come from this? Again, it was in fact resisting just based on the facts. But with this situation with the press, it'll probably go away. I don't know what the fruits of the internal investigation are going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be bullshit because we see officers who violate people's rights all the time, do all sorts of crazy shit, and they get fired from one place and hired at the next county across the street. But I just wanted to go through, give a quick breakdown on this video. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Everything was good up until the punches started to fly. The punches not flown, we wouldn't even be talking about this. It wouldn't have been an issue. Windows get broken all the time and people get taken out of cars. It is what it is. Yo, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thanks for everybody who's viewing. Thanks for everybody in the chat. A big shout out to the channel members for the additional support as well. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll do another live stream. And in advance, next Friday, I'm going to do another live stream. And I'm going to have another guest attorney on. It's going to be a great discussion. But tomorrow, we're going to talk about some more topics. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace.